So my colleague will assist on this. If you don't get to your question during today's webinar, we'll be sure to follow up afterward. So just a quick request from Prof. Sumiani. For our documentation purposes, this webinar session will be recorded. So before we proceed with the presentation, we would like to request we would like to request all of you to switch on your camera. We would like to have a snapshot photo of everyone attending this webinar for official record and reporting. Yeah, finally you can see your face. We have about 70 participants now. So my team will take a snapshot of your photos, yeah? Okay, just a quick one. Can you switch on your mic now? All right. Okay. Shall we say together, time for nature, we support SDGs, in the count of 3, yeah? All right. Time for nature, we support SDGs, in the count of 1, 2, and 3. Time for nature, we support SDGs. All right, thank you, everyone. Okay, now you can switch off your mic and video. We will now proceed with the main activity of the day. So without any further ado, we'd like to kick things off by welcoming our speaker of the day, Prof. Sumiani. Over to you.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Fazli and my team from the Sustainability and Living Lab Secretariat. First and foremost, I'd like to welcome everyone, and I would like to thank you for making time to be with us in our today's first inaugural webinar session, where we will actually highlight and also share our green or sustainability initiative that we have been doing in University Malaya. And it's very timely and very apt, since we are actually now facing unprecedented moment, with the COVID-19 and impact to the environment. It's only natural, and it's high time that we actually really take notice and follow up with concerted action, not only as individuals, but as a member of society, to actually play our role to ensure that we support the national agenda towards sustainability, and also the global sustainable development goals that has been formulated by the United Nations. I'm happy to see a lot of my friends here, a lot of familiar faces, also my students, my colleagues, and my friends. And what I'm going to do today is maybe about 45 minutes or so, is to share with you some of the basic principles, just to remind us again, because today is the important World Environment Day. It's good to actually, be reminded of the importance and the intricate, delicate relationship that we, mankind, have with the environment, and how we should actually treasure what we have and do better in terms of trying to promote sustainability and green living. Okay, I'm going to proceed with the presentation, and we will follow up with question and answers. So basically what I'm going to do is just sharing with you some of our experiences, so that it could inspire and also be used by others to probably replicate and also start implementing some of the things that are actually very doable, but has profound impact towards environmental protection and conservation. So I'll start my presentation now. Well, before that, I think I'm going to switch off. So today's topic discussing together is about the role of universities and sustainable development goals, SDGs, paving way for innovations post-COVID-19. While the topic primarily addresses university as we are academicians, however, this does not actually limit whatever we do or the initiatives that we carry out to be replicated and to be also done by any other organizations, be it your personal home, in your family, or even in your community and society, and also other institutions. Because remember, sustainable development agenda is a collective effort, and all of us have got a role in it. So I am talking to you as the chairperson of Sustainability and Living Lab Secretariat, who is actually the unit entrusted to carry out and also to oversee the Sustainability and Living Lab projects, which hopefully has actually made some impact towards reducing our institutional environmental impact as a whole. I'm also the director of Institute of Ocean and Earth Science, which is a high center of excellence under Ministry of Education. It focuses on research towards sustainability and looking at interactions of air, land, ocean interactions, and climate change. Okay, the presentation outline will carry you through to just a little reminder about global sustainability environmental issues in conjunction with today's auspicious World Environment Day. And I think it's very timely that we be reminded again about how this global sustainability adverse impacts is actually not just putting a lot of pressure to the environment, to the world, but also to humankind. Then we look at global impact of COVID-19. As I mentioned earlier, we are at a very unprecedented situation. This COVID-19 pandemic has actually impacted us in so many ways. It's an infectious disease supposedly caused by a newly discovered strain of coronavirus, and it has caused this virus is known to cause respiratory infections in human, and the outbreak of pneumonia has what was first started or discovered in Wuhan, China, has now transmitted all over the world. And we will see that post the pandemic COVID-19, we will have to adapt to the new normal.
Prof, so, sorry, Prof.
Yeah.
Just a quick one. Can't you please put the slides on the view?
It is now on view. Is on view?
It's not on view at the moment.
Oh, how come? I've already, let me see. Okay.
My side is okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Can proceed now.
All right. Sorry.
Okay.
That was the earlier window. Okay. Now it's okay, right? You see the whole.
Yeah. Good to go.
All right. And I will also talk about roles and contribution of institution, not just limited to university, but any institution, which can start from even your home as an institution, right up to your organization and so on, in terms of promoting sustainable development agenda. And how can we contribute? Just sharing some basic reminders. Of course, different levels. We have different responsibilities at different levels of hierarchy of authority. but each and every one could actually contribute, and finally some conclusion and way forward. Yeah. So just to recap back, I'm sure most of you who are here are very familiar with the term of sustainable development. That's the thing. The irony is most of the time when we have talk or we have briefing or we have seminars, we are actually talking to people who are already concerned, already aware, majority I would say, already converted. But having said that, if we are one of them, we should actually play our role to actually extend our knowledge and awareness so that more people will subscribe to the notion of sustainable development. And sustainable development is not new. It was coined right from the Brundtland report, which actually came up with the notion of a holistic approach towards future mankind responses in terms of development that actually balances not just environmental protection but also economic, social and cultural perspective. Yeah. And with the current situation that we're facing now and increased demands in society, especially in the increasing human population, human migration and the increased urbanization and industrialization, and also with the ongoing and also ever increasing use of non-renewable resources that is causing a lot of stock depletion, which is very, very important that global action is needed to create a sustainable future, because otherwise your children, your grandchildren is going to face the brunt of it, and they might not be able to sustain lifestyle and also comfortable living as what we are facing now. So for us in University Malaya, being a higher education institution and also with our primary role as knowledge provider, we hope that we could actually serve and also create awareness and convey and also help capacity building in terms of creating a more sustainable future. And with the concept of education for sustainable development, in recent years, hopefully these core educational initiatives that has been embedded in our curriculum will help address many of the problems associated with humankind, human development. Yeah, so we feel that especially for us academians, I know there's quite a number of us here who are in the academia. We have a big role in creating sustainable future, and presumably with current situation, it will take greater precedence as world continues to become increasingly globalized and interdependent. Yeah? So and as of today, as we are speaking, all of us mostly are still at home, working from home during this MCO situation. This global pandemic, like I said, it's really putting us all in limited mobility and activities, and giving us a stark realization that basically, our life could actually be totally affected if we do not take care of the environment and we do not understand and appreciate the importance of the interrelationship between the environment, species, biodiversity, and mankind. Yeah. So we look at what are the role of universities in promoting innovative solutions. Hopefully, what I'm sharing would also be useful for other institutions, other communities, individuals to actually spearhead the sustainability agenda. And hopefully this webinar will offer you an explorative know-how on the role of university to be resilient, sustainable and proactive to embrace a new paradigm of a transformed world. And what we are showing and what we are sharing with you are just our effort and our initiative, which is a continual improvement that we keep doing in trying to strive to truly make University Malaya, like other universities in Malaysia, I'm very sure are also paving way towards sustainable development. And in conjunction with our commitment, if you look at the University Impact Ranking on SDGs, this is reflected. Yeah? that more and more universities in Malaysia are subscribing to the University Impact Ranking on SDGs. Of course, to some people, ranking is not a good thing. However, to me, as we strive towards improvement and excellence, we have to benchmark ourselves, and we'd like to look at opportunities for improvement. So, you know, when you subscribe to this kind of, especially the Time Higher Education University Impact Ranking on Sustainable Development Goals, this indicates our commitment not just towards being an academic institution with academic excellence, but we are also very, very into sustaining and also creating a sustainable impact, not just to our university, but to our community, to our country, and hopefully collectively to the world. So if you look at the Times Higher Education University Impact Ranking on SDGs, more than 13 universities in Malaysia are already in, and I know for sure because we keep in touch and we have a group in Sustainable Campus Initiative. More than I would say almost all university now is actually one way or another implementing sustainable development agenda and working with community. Yeah, so we have fared quite well, I would say. Yeah, a lot of our universities are leading in top 100, including University Malaya. And even with COVID-19 pandemic, it has not stopped us from achieving our improvement and accomplishment. And we would like to actually also show and demonstrate how seriously we take our role towards promoting the sustainable agenda, not just for our campus, but to the larger community. Okay, so why should we care? Some people might ask or might not still know, because you'll be surprised in my journey of talking and giving lectures and giving talks. There's still a lot of people who are probably not very aware or still ignorant about the need towards sustainable development, and also surprisingly environmental problems and environmental pollution. Yeah. Having said that, I know for sure that a lot more people, especially the young, are very concerned. They are also very committed and also very into putting in efforts to sustain and also to help promote the sustainable development agenda. So why is it so important? I think without having to go into the details, we know for sure that around the world, globally, it is very evident that the world today faces multitude pressing global issues. And before January 2020, we never thought that a pandemic, even though we've heard from history, like the Spanish flu and all that, but we feel that it's something that might not happen in our lifetime. But nevertheless, you know, this is really something unprecedented. Besides all the global multitude pressing issues due to our human activities and intervention. Remember, we have more than 7.5 billion people in the world now, and it's counting. And it is anticipated by 2050, there'll be more than 9 billion people, which would definitely put pressure and stress to the resources and also causing a lot of environmental pollution. And this comes in many forms, whether in water pollution, waste, species extinction, biodiversity, you know, energy, and also things related to climate change. And now on top of it, in 2020, you know, we have the COVID-19 pandemic, and as of, I think, the latest figures, more than 6 million people are affected. Yeah, almost 38,000 deaths worldwide since January. So we really have to step up, and we really have to relook at the way we do things and how we interact with the environment. So this is just showing you some of the issues that has cropped up. You know, all the bushfire that has happened due to you know, exploitation or stresses and pressures to the environment, water pollution, abusing, or you know, our interaction and how we actually deal with species flora and fauna in the environment, the waste that we produce, deforestation, desertification issues, health issues. Yeah, and just to highlight again, you open the media any day, every day almost, you see reports related to climate change, and other hosts of pollution and also problems related to air, water, habitat and biodiversity, waste problem, and so forth. So, like I said, we really have to take notice because it's not going to get better. This is a fact, and we have to understand and realize that the problems that we face are due to human intervention and human activities, and the world population is always ever increasing at a geometric growth. We will double our global population very soon. So how much more can the world and the environment cope with the stresses and the demands of mankind? So this is something that we really have to reflect. We can't keep expecting the environment to remain the same due to the excessive pressures that the human population that will actually keep on increasing. And there's no way that we're going to stop that unless there's a big war or pandemic. But even then, we don't want to see death just to control the human population. But inevitably, with the demands and also the increase in human population, we will definitely see more issues pertaining to environmental problems. And issues like air pollution and issues related to air, you'll be surprised that 95% of the world still breathe unsafe air. Not still, will and will continue to. And in Malaysia, the haze is a recurring problem, and death attributed to outdoor air pollution. The highest figure, if you look at the diagram, is in Southeast Asia and Western Pacific. And people, over half of the world's population, have air quality with only 12% of cities that has air quality measures that meet WHO standards. So the pressure on mega cities, on urbanization, will actually create more air pollution issues. And of course, the financial health or costs related to health risks will take up almost 5 to 10% of GDP. And air pollution taking the highest toll. And in poor countries, you still have people who have got indoor air pollution caused by cooking stoves and things like that. So this is a real pertinent problem, and it's something that we should not take lightly. On top of that, I just want to go into the details of pertinent pollution problems, global and Malaysian waste pollution issues. The world is becoming a big global dump site. Because unless urgent action is taken, global waste will increase 70% to 3.4 billion tons by 2050. So just imagine what's going to happen to the spaces, available spaces, where it will all be filled up with global waste. Unless we take action. And how are we going to do intervention? Probably through innovation, through technological advancement. The world is going to be dumped with a lot of waste. And if you look at the waste generation, highest, we are still our region, and especially East Asia and the Pacific, we produce among the highest. And the situation is no different also in Malaysia. Malaysians, every day we produce about 38,000 tons of solid waste. This is a lot of waste, honestly speaking. And studies have recorded that if you were to continue and you were to actually dump this waste to our Petronas Twin Towers, it will take only a few days to fill up. So you just imagine, to house that waste that we produce and we generate excessively in Malaysia, we need to have, if we want to actually save the space, many Petronas Twin Towers just to house those waste, which is of course impossible. And the sad part about this big amount that we produce, because Malaysia is notorious famous for being a wasteful society. Out of that, 45 to 50% of waste that we produce are basically food waste. So more so now during MCO, where families gather and we just stay at home, our eating habits and culture is very predominant, yeah, in our Asian and Malaysian culture. So please be mindful of the fact that we Malaysians throw away almost 50% of our waste composition comprising of food waste. And sadly to say, studies by SW Corp and all that shows that avoidable food waste is about 3,000 tons daily. Can you imagine? Avoidable means food that is left, that are leftovers, uneaten food, you know, and so on, which is edible, yeah, and which should not be thrown away. And these 3,000 tons of food can actually feed more than 2 million people. Can you imagine the irony of it all? Yeah, and on top of that, you know that we actually, if you convert that to dollars and cents, we throw about 2,000 over ringgit worth, yeah, of food waste, which is still good and edible, which lands more than 95% to our dump sites and landfills in Malaysia, and is causing severe and grave environmental pollution. Yeah. So these are the kind of reminders that we need to actually emphasize to everyone in terms of how we pollute the environment. And water issue, water scarcity and water pollution is also a big problem. Now, you know, in Malaysia, more than 90% of our water supply comes from the rivers. But unfortunately, the irony again, we are the ones who's polluting our river through our uncontrolled discharges, untreated wastewater, yeah, and it's coming back to us because, you know, it will affect water quality and it will affect our water supply. So that's no surprise that we have water disruption very often in Malaysia. Yeah, if you remember, just quite recently we had the episode of like Sungai Kim and Pasir Gudang, where indiscriminate dumping of waste that's being thrown into the river has caused a lot of hardship, sickness, yeah, and affecting human health. And also globally, yeah, more than 2 billion people still lack safe water at home, and yet we are actually wasting water. Yeah, and 1 in 9 people worldwide still doesn't have access to improved sources of drinking water, and 1 in 3 lacks improved sanitation. And we know very well the major sources of water pollution are from human activities, human settlement and industrial and agricultural activities, yeah, mainly from sewage, from industrial dumps, yeah, and also from agricultural practices. And you know, it has been reported that every year about 3.5 million people die due to inadequate water supply, sanitation and hygiene. So it is a grave problem, yeah, and it's a serious issue. And together with the importance of understanding the intricate balance that we need to actually maintain with our biodiversity, if you look at species population and wildlife population worldwide has plummeted tremendously. Yeah, and primary threats to wildlife population comes from exploitation, habitat degradation, yeah, climate change, habitat loss, and almost every species on the planet has been reported. Yeah, studies have reported that almost every species on the planet is on track to be wiped out, which would cause actually a collapse of life on Earth. And to some people, biodiversity might not be very pertinent or very serious matter, because we don't really see the importance of trying to maintain, yeah, our natural environment. And aptly, the World Environment Day today, Time for Nature, is also focusing on biodiversity. Yeah, why? Because biodiversity describes the variety of life on Earth, and if we do not maintain or contain this threat to biodiversity, we are also in the brink of collapsing our human population, because we totally are interdependent to the species and also to the cycle of life that has been given through the that delicate balance of maintaining biodiversity. Plastic pollution is another big issue. I know a lot of countries, including Malaysia. I know we have my friend Jack, who is with the ministry now, who is actually championing this with UNDP and UNEP on plastic pollution and microplastics. And in we also have a lot of initiative trying to actually promote awareness in also reducing the use of single-use plastic. And I think the country is also very committed, as we've also gotten our roadmap to actually not use and encourage the use of plastic, single-use plastic especially. And we need to create awareness and also educate people that even though this substance, plastic, is this ubiquitous substance is all around us. It's very convenient, it's cheap, it's durable. However, it has got actually grave adverse impact, because plastic, even though it's convenient to use, it's cheap, you know that it is a byproduct of petrochemical, and it doesn't disappear. The moment you discard it to the environment, it remains. It doesn't degrade. It takes more than 500 years to degrade that single bottle water plastic that you drink to the environment. Just think about it. Every time you buy a bottle of your mineral water, and if you don't properly discard it, it's going to remain in the environment for the next 500 years. It's going to, extend and remain and cause a lot of problem, not just to your children, but your children, grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. And plastics doesn't disappear, because when it's disintegrated, it becomes microplastic and nanoplastic. So this is the reason why this hype about trying to actually promote the no use of single-use plastic is so important. And we Malaysians are also, again, notoriously popular and famous, because we are among the top countries polluting the ocean the most due to mismanaged plastic waste. And we are in number 8 in the world. So that shows our lifestyle and our awareness towards this plastic pollution is still not very prominent. And it's not only that, it remains in the environment, it gets ingested, it gets inhaled. And if you look at the amount of how we eat, drink, and breathe microplastics, these are the figures. You'll be surprised. Average number of microplastics particles found per gram or per liter meter cube of selected consumables. Your bottle water, 94.37. These are the average microplastics that it will actually contribute to. And it has been estimated annually, people or person, including via inhalation, we take in between 74,000 and almost 100,000 of microplastic particles per person. So you might not see them, but it's there in your food, in your water, in the air that you breathe. And worse off is especially the marine litter, the plastic marine litter, which is causing a lot of death to marine life and other species. And it is anticipated more than 800 species worldwide are affected by marine debris. And 80% of that litter or the marine debris are actually plastic. So please be very mindful when you buy your groceries, when you take that extra plastic bag, or when you buy things that has got lots of plastic packaging. Okay, the next issue or the problem that we face, which is very defining at the moment, is climate change. And climate change is a big issue. We know that we are polluting the environment so much, with splitting of our CO2 and other greenhouse gases, and it's causing global overheating and dangerous climate changes. A lot of us might not really feel the impact of climate change, but we really have to stop the progression of it, because studies have shown that if we continue business as usual in terms of our lifestyle and in terms of our emitting of CO2 into the environment, we are going to actually cause adverse progression of climate change, and a lot of host of problems related to it, including seawater level rise, affecting food supply, a host of other things, including submersion of areas and nations, low-lying nations. So, annual global CO2 emission in 2017 alone has reached 37.1 gigatons. And it is expected to increase, with Malaysia emitting also. We are not very good in terms of our environmental performance because of probably the intensifying of our urbanization, globalization, and also lifestyle. In 2018, Malaysian emits 257 million tons of CO2, which is an increase from 122 tons in 1999. So if you look at the progression of our emission, it is growing at an average annual rate of 4%, and we, Malaysia, contribute about 0.7% of world CO2 emission. So there's a lot of initiative and effort that needs to be taken, because otherwise we will expect, a lot of places, a lot of countries, a lot of areas will become uninhabitable because of the progression of climate change. And coming back to the realization about the importance of environmental conservation, I like to actually always come back to the basic principle of understanding religion, dynamics, and role of faith and its values towards sustainable development. There's no religion, be it Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, Confucianism, that has not touched on environmental stewardship and environmental conservation. And it's more so prominent in the Quran for us Muslims, that we really have to take care of the environment. It is a responsibility, as we are appointed vicegerents on the earth. It is there very clearly in Surah Al-An'am, verse 165, that says that we humans are appointed as vicegerents or Khalifa, meaning we are supposed to act on behalf of the leader, or as vicegerent of Allah. It denotes that as human being, we did not come to this world without a purpose, and we have to safeguard the earth and the environment, and should live life the correct way and responsibly. So, this environmental movement to me is not just a fad or a trend. It is actually a basic tenet of your religious values and responsibility. So understanding that and creating awareness that, having to protect the environment is part and parcel of your religious duty, hopefully will make a lot of people more taking actions. And I'd like to show this diagram. It's a very popular diagram showing that, we human has always feel that we are highest in the food chain and the cycle of life, when in actual fact, we are actually just part of the ecosystem, and we are very, very much dependent on the ecosystem services and resources, and we should not, egoistically consume and dispose and create a lot of environmental problems and degradation. We should really remember that as we pollute the world and the environment and earth, we are actually killing our own self, because there is no planet B. There's no, at the current moment I'm talking, there's no efforts or initiatives to actually find another planet. It might not even happen, but this is very important. It's very timely for us to keep reminding ourselves we are not the highest being in the food chain. We are just part of the various multitude biodiversity and species of flora and fauna that God has created. And due to our egoistic nature or greed, we have actually carelessly and irresponsibly pollute the environment. And I like this saying that says that if you think environment is less important than economy, or your business or your money is more important, try holding your breath while you count your money. You really can't, and it's not worth it. So this today, this auspicious blessed Friday, it's a nice bright morning today for me here in PJ. There's a bit of a shower. Now you see the freshness in the air. It is very timely, very apt. We have to come back to realizing that we really have to make time for nature. And this is the theme for World Environment Day today, time for nature. It is a movement that has been actually propagated by UNEP, that actually propagates citizens, engaging governments, and also businesses to focus their efforts on pressing environmental issues. And this year's focus is also on biodiversity, which is a concern because it's really urgent and existential. Because we've seen a lot of adverse impact or effect from bushfires, to locust infestations, and now the COVID-19 global pandemic. This really gives us stark realization the truly intricate interdependence of humans and webs of life in which they exist. So in a way, nature is sending us a message. Please clean up your act, because remember, the food we eat, the air we breathe, and the water that we drink, and the climate that we face makes our planet habitable. They are all coming from nature. So we have to really not just take care of ourselves. In order to take care of ourselves, we must take care of the nature and the environment. Okay. So happy Environment Day to everyone. COVID-19, how it has impacted us, socially, economically, environmentally. It is really, there have been reports saying that it has actually, in a way, improved some environmental qualities, but we know for sure that it is minuscule as compared to the amount of problems that we have in the environment, especially more so now with staying at home and MCO. Food and packaging waste has risen, and especially our face masks, and PPEs used by the medical fraternity to combat this disease. If we do not take care and we do not manage them properly, they are going to actually cause more environmental problems, and it's going to actually affect us in so many ways. All right. And of course, if you look at the economic implications, this is the bigger problem that we're going to face. We have to brace through it, because it is expected that in the second quarter, post COVID-19, there'll be more than 300 million full-time jobs will actually be affected. And even now, even every day, in fact, yesterday was in the newspapers and the news, Air Asia just laid off a few hundred of their staff, and it'll be a common recurrence now. Okay, so the crisis of this pandemic is facing that we are facing now is also not just putting a lot of pressures towards environment, social, and economic perspective, but we might feel that post COVID-19, life would go back to normalcy. It will not happen, because we are going to brace the outcome of COVID-19 in terms of economic recession. And if we are still complacent, the impact of climate change will be bigger, and it will take us in an enormous proportion. We also see a lot of tensions, geopolitical, economical interactions and interventions, which might create tension between countries and also rebalancing of cross-border political scenario. So in the perspective of our universities, we are also facing a lot of challenges, no doubt. And we realize that with this pandemic, we have not faced this situation before, where more than 1.5 to 2 billion students and youth across the planet are affected by school and university closures. So that's a lot, almost 1/7 of our population are affected in terms of schooling and acquiring knowledge, because everyone has to actually now be at home and go online. And the pandemic has actually posed a lot of challenges to the universities' normal activities, be it through our interrupted or the not normal way of teaching and learning, mobility, our events, there's no more convocations, student activities, interrupted studies and adjusted requirements and delivery modalities. And in fact, I just read that this pandemic could also actually cause bankruptcy to many institutions, including universities. So how are we going to brace? How are we going to innovate? How are we going to take up these challenges? There's a lot of things that we have to do and look at in terms of responses to the challenges in general. So far, I think most universities have adjusted in a way to the challenges of COVID-19, where postponement and cancellation or adjustment of teaching and learning activities have been done through virtual mobility tools and digital technologies, and we have leveraged technology to be used as a resource, for both academic and administrative operations. And surprisingly, I think most of us would agree that it has not really, initially it might be of surprise and not the norm, but I think now I talk to a lot of my colleagues in the office, we feel that, and I personally would vouch to it, I feel that, we can be more productive actually working from home. And imagine the amount of emissions, time save, emission save, and resources that we use less. So it could also be a new way of doing things. And we should actually institutionalize new learning methods, considering risk planning, crisis management, and empowering the use of digital technologies. This is very important. And I think our country, our university, our institutions need to make our population ready to be digitally literate, to function and progress in the coming future. Because post COVID-19, the new norm would be social distancing. There'll be greater digitalization of services, and more digitally centered communications are going to be the norm. So infrastructure, awareness, literacy in terms of digital functionings and technologies is very important. And we could also look at exploring a potential partnership. I believe this could be done. Collaboration and cooperation, not just cooperation, but collaboration and a potential partnership between universities to carry out online teaching, to also work and partner with industry or the private sector to strengthen the virtual learning ecosystem. So this is the new norm. And coming into the SDGs, I'm sure a lot of us are very familiar with the UN SDG goals, the 17 SDG goals. As you know, the SDG goals are actually an extension of the MDG, or the Millennium Development Goal. It's a continuity of development agenda. where at the core of its agenda, or the 2030 core agenda in sustainable development, which was agreed by almost most world leaders in September 25 at UN conference. It has been expanded from the 8 MDG goals and 21 targets in MDG to SDG, where it was expanded, has been expanded to 17 goals and 169 targets, and it's very comprehensive. It's very inclusive, yeah, with the tagline of leaving no one behind. Yeah, so the 2030 agenda of sustainable development caters for promotes extensively sustainable development and stability in 3 dimensions of sustainable development, namely the social, economy, and environmental perspective. Because we have to remember these 3 tenets of sustainable development has to be in balance, have to be done concurrently in order for us to achieve the true definition of sustainable development, which is development that meets the needs of present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. It's quite a mouthful, maybe a bit elusive in terms of the definition, but how the challenge is how to translate that into real action. Yeah, and for businesses too, you have to actually look and embed and incorporate the pillars of sustainability, taking into perspective and ensuring the social sustainability, economic and ecological sustainability is maintained, because otherwise you would not achieve the desired sustainable business entity that you want, and how it would actually contribute to sustain and make your businesses relevant. So the SDG goal, yeah, is supposedly transforming our world, yeah, to the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. It's an ambitious goal, yes. It has 17 goals that actually promotes this ambitious plan, the 5P of people, taking care, and taking action for people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. Yeah, and if you look at the 17 goals, it has got 169 targets, 230 indicators. If you group reporting, and we are number 88. We are ranked 68 out of 162 countries, and we are 4th among Asian countries. And if you look at our score, we have been contributing and we have been doing initiatives and collecting data, but there's still lots of windows for opportunities for improvement. If you look at SDG 2, 5, yeah, 9, 10, 14, 15, 17, we still have got lots more to do. Okay, so the creation of the awareness to more people, more entity, more organization towards promoting SDG, because everyone can contribute and everyone can actually do something about promoting SDG, be it in your as a personal agenda, or in the community, or in your family, or in your institution. And if you look at Malaysians' rank, we have tracked, SDGs that are on track, some with moderate progress, some with less than 50%, and some which has still got no information. So this is where everyone, every entity, organization, be it private or public, can actually contribute, not just in terms of figures, but truly embodying the spirit and implementing initiatives to ensure that we subscribe and fulfill the SDG scorecard. Yeah? And to look in the global rankings, we can't run away from rankings, because we want to benchmark ourselves. We want to look at our strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats. So once we know where we stand in terms of global rankings, we could actually pursue and look at other opportunities and improvement. Okay, so these are some of the figures that shows Malaysians are subscribing to these global initiatives, but there's still lots more that can be done. Yeah, and even in Southeast Asia, our progress of SDG, in a way, reports have shown that half of the SDGs, the progress has stagnated or heading in the wrong direction. So as a region, we still got a lot of collaboration, cooperation to do to ensure that together we progress and prosper, especially in promoting this sustainability, because ASEAN countries and leaders need to work together to ensure that the progress is put back on track. Yeah. So having said that, how do we integrate sustainability and education? Because coming from the education sector, we like to actually put our effort and also contribute as to many goals as possible, but one that is truly defining of us as academician and in the higher institution organization is goal number 4, which is on quality education. Yeah? And quality education, where we want to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So we in the academia could actually really strive to ensure this is happening, this is being done, because education is so important. It's a powerful weapon that you can use to change the world, as quoted by Nelson Mandela. And we want to ensure that by 2030, all learners acquire knowledge and skills needed to promote sustainable development, including, among others, through education for sustainable development, sustainable lifestyle, human rights, gender equality, promotion of culture of peace, non-violence, yeah. And to me, most importantly, is to ensure that we educate future leaders and future responsible citizens of the world. Okay, so education for sustainable development is basically trying to enable more people to develop knowledge, values, and skills to participate in decisions about the way we do things, individually and collectively, locally and globally, that will improve quality of life without damaging the planet. So that's the definition, and this is very important. It's part of the fundamental of education principles. Yeah, it's high on the agenda because at the end of the day, universities and higher learning institutions could actually contribute, yeah, and could influence all the 17 SDGs through proper planning, proper integration, proper implementation, and proper education that could actually help SDGs and universities working together in a symbiosis. Yeah, and if you look at the symbiosis between SDGs and universities, we are in a pivotal role. We play a pivotal role, and we are in a central position to actually impart, yeah, knowledge, learning, demonstration, impact, collaboration, and through our research, through our academic curriculum, yeah, through our leadership and our own universities or entities operation, we could actually promote SDGs. Yeah. So the role of higher education is for sustainable world is very important. Yeah, as echoed by the Council of Europe, it contains 4 roles. Yeah, for higher education for a sustainable world, as I mentioned, through research, education, leadership, and operations and governance. We prepare students for sustainable employment, prepare them to become active, responsible citizen for their personal development and contributing towards the national agenda. Yeah, and we also hopefully create, broad advanced knowledge base and through our research and innovation. So we play a very important role. And I think higher education institutions in the whole country have made significant efforts to address sustainability in campus operation through campus greening and introducing new programs and courses related to education for sustainable development, so that we could extend the value and impact our teaching and research to not just our campus community, but also to our national committee and hopefully the global community. Yeah. And we also could engage, in resolving sustainability issues, by enhancing public trust, sharing of knowledge, ensuring universal access to solutions, and acting and implementing scientific initiatives, and also scientific assessment because we could actually play that role because if you look at the surveys, globally more than 70% of respondents trust scientists at high or medium level. So we could actually hopefully, put the sharing of our knowledge and our public trust in science to promote right policy making that could benefit this collective effort towards integrating SDGs and sustainable development education. Yeah. So post COVID-19, I would say that universities' role in paving new innovative way is very prominent. Yeah, we could contribute tremendously. Yeah, we should take lead in translating, in communicating, and continuing our relevant research. Yeah, in assisting our government towards recovery. Yeah, we are also in the position to take up sustainability leadership in making the best and wise decisions. Hopefully that would benefit the masses. Yeah, we could continue with our enhanced capacity building, so that we enhance students and communities' capability to meet new normal standards and modalities, educating community and public on importance of sustainable development, the right communication on SDGs and its importance to become the new important narrative and mainstream, yeah, and also exploring partnership, because this is, to me, we are in the position to do all this. Okay. So even though we have actually rapidly shifted to emergency remote online learning during this COVID-19, and we are also in the position to continue our teaching and learning outside classroom, yeah, we need to actually enhance and develop soft skills, consolidation of intelligentsia, and promotion of cohesive citizenry to our students, yeah. And the important role of universities to creating new ideas that challenge the current order to develop and gain traction, I think it's so pertinent. Yeah. So we have to look and reimagine our teaching, partnership, and institutional architecture and objectives, so that we enable the building of quality institution and human capacity across the globe. And looking at the importance of the role of higher education or higher learning institution in Malaysia, it is important, like anybody else or everyone else, every citizen of Malaysia, but more so because we are such big numbers. Remember, there are more than 1 million Malaysian students in the universities. We have more than 20 public universities, almost 500 private universities, and more than 10,000 schools, which with our daily activities do still promote and also contribute towards greenhouse gases and pollution if it is not managed adequately. Yeah? So in an organization or institution, for you to approach sustainability, you have to have shared responsibility. It cannot just be one unit, one office, or one secretariat looking at it, yeah, but it has to be a shared common responsibility towards sustainable development, promoting the precautionary principle, and getting participatory, in getting more people to participate together with good leadership and strong governance, and having proper documentation, management, monitoring, so that you go for continual improvement. And to me, this is the framework of an eco-campus or sustainable campus principle. This is applied and replicable to any institution or any organization. It need not be just higher learning institution. You need the elements of transformational impact. You need the leverage resources. You need the leadership. Yeah, you have to have an integrated approach. Yeah, multi-scale partnership, cross-sector engagement, and you will definitely reap the benefit of environmental performance in terms of climate change mitigation, preservation of biodiversity, promoting circular economy. Yeah. And for us in University Malaya, I would like to share that we actually pledge support for sustainable development through our initiatives and all aspects of our facets of our teaching and learning. So we have actually also launched, to show our commitment, we launched our blueprint, our Eco Campus blueprint, in 2016. Yeah, and our office, our secretariat, even though we are small, but we've been doing and taking care of and the environmental initiatives for the whole campus. We come directly under the 2 deputy vice chancellors. So this is another strategic alliance because we have the 2 deputy vice chancellor. In fact, I would say all the deputy vice chancellor indirectly, but the 2 deputy vice chancellors directly supported us in terms of resources, infra, and research grant. Yeah, and we come directly also under the vice chancellor. So our eco-campus blueprint is an important referral document which coordinates all our actions to strive towards making University Malaya truly an eco-campus. And we target in our planning 8 sustainability trust areas. Yeah, and these 8 sustainability trust areas are chosen because they are very apt to any organization operations and implementation. We chose biodiversity management, waste management, water, energy, transportation, green procurement, education management, and change management. So this doesn't apply to just universities. Any entities, any organizations could replicate this, and you could come up with action plans and modalities on how you want to actually achieve and improve your environmental performance through focusing and strategizing properly. So we have these 8 trust areas, and alhamdulillah, with our efforts, we've gotten national and international accolades and acknowledgement. Yeah, we have got good recognition, even in the UI Green Metric World University Ranking. We are number 4 in the world. Yeah, and all our criteria and our trust areas and our operation modes through our research or living lab research grant has actually benefited the university because we have best number 1 in water management, in education, yeah, and so on. Yeah, and you can see that, yeah, and also in waste management. So like I said, you know, you need to actually strategize, not that because we want to do things to be in the ranking, but when you do good things, naturally the ranking will be there for you to actually showcase your position and your outputs that has benefited the university. So we are also ranked favorably in Times Higher Education. And I would like to share with you, I know time is a bit of a limit now. I didn't realize I'm talking and I have prepared too much slides, but I want to share what we do in UM and how our living labs. So we actually have a very the living lab research grant, yeah, where translational and action research. And for those of you who are our participants here, I'm sure you have realized that in UM Info we have weekly announced that we have opened for proposal or research proposal and grants for the next cycle for this year's living lab. So please do apply, especially if you are into and you subscribe to sustainable conservation and sustainability. You could actually come up with a research proposal, action oriented. It has to be action oriented and translational within these 8 core areas. Yeah, so if your project could actually support landscape and biodiversity, waste management, water management, energy management, transportation, green procurement, education, and change management, you will have a good chance. From laboratory research, as the name implies, is action oriented and translation. We put it into real life solutions so that we make our campus, working with our campus to improve environmental performance and working with communities. Yeah? So it is actually a multi-pronged initiative in nature, and it has benefited us in terms of the sustainability aspects. I'll share with you some of the data later. So I'll go very quickly to show to you some of the projects that has been carried out in University Malaya to safeguard and also to promote and enhance sustainability agenda. we have the 8 trust areas, and in the 8 trust areas, we have different projects supporting and contributing to the achievement of our SDG, campus SDG. So if you look at biodiversity, we have the RIMBA project. Dr. Subu is here. I think just now I saw his name, has been heading this project. One of areas that looks at biodiversity, and so a host of, look at the diagram, I'm not going to read through, but you can just, these are some of the projects that has been done. They have just signed MOU, done nature walks, nature city challenge, guided walks, yeah. Okay, so we have got projects that also look at healthy soil, for healthy living. We have eco slope, carbon storage mapping initiative using IoT, and for team 2, which is headed by myself, also contributes towards improved waste performance and create circular economy, where we actually convert our food and organic waste from campus to make it into our signature organic compost, which is now an income generation to the university. So we have a host of other projects, including using recycling, construction waste, recycling, plastic waste as an aggregate for concretes, yeah. So this is just to showcase the UM Zero Waste campaign and how it has achieved and contributed. So over the years, we've had a host of projects, and we have actually saved University Malaya almost 400,000 in terms of waste disposal, and we have contributed revenue charity from our collection of reuse textile that has come up to more than 35,000 that contributed to sponsor charities, charity homes, yeah, and we have actually created awareness and capacity building to more than 12,000 visitors that has come to learn from us how we actually do the integrated sustainable waste management. And through our initiative also, we have managed to actually set up a tabung, a fund, where currently we produce our own signature organic compost, and we have actually top up sales up to more than 40,000, which is an income to the university, rather being pollution and causing environmental degradation. Yeah, we also have projects using black soldier fly for managing kitchen waste. We also have very uniquely, we have University Malaya Medical Center. We have the safe disposal of unused medications, yeah, because it is also a big issue. A lot of us take medicines, but we do not dispose of them properly. We also use recycled plastics collected in campus and make them into our aggregates in concrete. And our researchers have actually designed a low-cost house using our plastic aggregates, and it's there in campus as a one of the depot for and we have the water governance, the water warriors. Dr. Zida is here, I think. Afan and Asya, they are the pioneers together with RIMBA and Zero Waste campaign. We have started this Living Lab projects way back since I think quite some time. Yeah. So these are among the projects that they do. Yeah. Pollution mapping, upcycling of plastic waste, rainwater harvesting, slowing the flow. We have this unique Mr. Timble that has been designed by water warriors and the engineering faculty that is a gadget that slows flow and has reduced tremendously water use in campus. And so on. So there are many projects. We have water monitoring via IoT, and for energy management, these are among the projects that we have. So it's a continual project, continual process, and all the projects we map to the SDG goals. So we have using smart modular monitoring, smart zero carbon assessment. So these are some of the projects. I have to rush a little bit. Okay, we have sustainable transport, promoting cycling, walking, yeah, and also workshops, yeah, to entice people to reduce dependency on mobile transportation. And then we have green procurement, yeah, trying to embed green principles of procurement. And we are very lucky, we even get our bursar to actually be part of the project. So it's not just academicians, even our own staff, yeah, are incorporating and also playing a role in our Living Lab research programs. Team 7 is on education management. So these are some of the projects. One of the signature project of our education management is transforming our surau in Akademi Pengajian Islam, API UM, to make it into a eco surau. This is done through the Imara Green project. It's very successful. We have transformed our API surau, which is a popular surau for even Friday prayers. They have actually transformed the surau to make it an eco surau with features of water conservation, energy conservation, recycling. They even have got a lestari shop or recycling shop, yeah, and so on. Yeah. So yeah, so these are some of the things that has been done. Some of the projects is still ongoing. Okay, and change management in terms of governance, participation and communication. We have got support from our leaders, from our governance institution and agencies in UM. And we also increase our visibility and participation and communication by coming up with our own warehouse data prototype system, which will be incorporated into monitoring of our hydrological data. We have also started faculty sustainability report card, yeah, where every faculty will actually document and promote sustainability, and not just promote sustainability in their campus, in their faculty, but also towards SDG goals. Yeah? So yeah, these are some of the things. And we have additional theme, health and well-being. So for this year, for those of you who are interested to apply for the Living Lab grants, our additional theme include health and well-being. So if you have any projects that has got health and well-being, especially now with COVID pandemic situation, I think mental health is also an issue. It's a research that needs to be done to look at how we could actually promote mental health among our students and staff. Yeah, and also we are also promoting smart campus initiative. So please come in with your proposals. Yeah, besides the 8 trust areas, these are the other 2. So there are many supporting policies that your university has. We are very lucky because our management also subscribe to the single-use plastic ban policy and waste separation at source. We have our OSHA, or occupational safety health policy. We have paper savings, FMB operator premise guideline, and so on. And we have also been promoted and supported by our Jabatan Sisa Pejal Negara, NSW Corp. We are part of this waste separation at source program by the authorities. And all our projects, we map them to SDG. So we don't just do them for the sake of doing it. We transform and we want to make UM an eco campus. We monitor, we manage, we do tracking, and we map how it contributes to our SDG goal. So as you look into the figures, our most contribution of our Living Lab is SDG 11, 13 and 17. The rest are also contributed by other types of research. Yeah? And to be very comprehensive in our data collection, we track the environmental, social, and also economic performance. So in terms of environmental performance of our initiative, green initiatives or Living Lab projects, these are the things that we have actually reduced. Yeah, we have diverted so much waste from landfill site from our integrated sustainable waste management, be it medicine, food, green waste, wood waste. Yeah. We have reduced more than almost 5 million kilograms of CO2 diverted from landfill, and over the years through our project we have diverted almost 1,000 tons of waste from going to landfill site. We have reduced energy. We have actually increased green and biodiversity, planting more trees and promoting green areas. Okay. And from our ZWC initiative, we have diverted more than 1 million kilogram of solid waste into useful resources. So we have actually converted our food waste and our green waste from landscaping and all that into compost, and we sell them. Not only that, now we are also promoting urban garden or urban farming using our own compost. Yeah, so these are among the things that we have been doing. In terms of social performance, if you look at our project, we have not just do it in campus and in our campus community, but we have also translated and extended it to communities outside. We have got a lot of community engagement work with our member of parliament, with our local authorities, yeah, and we have the Imara Ecosura program, yeah, working with Jawi, Jakim, Ikim, and also with poor communities, yeah. The water warriors have been doing river water cleanup, yeah, and we have been doing demos and trainings and capacity building, yeah, and Rimba project, guided walks, and so on. So the other sustainability tenet, which is the economic performance, we will also track them because, like I said, if you want to fulfill the sustainability agenda, the 3 aspects or pillars of sustainable development must be implemented and must be done together. So like I said earlier, our food and organic waste have been turned and composted, done treatment on site, where we have actually sold more than 40,000 worth of compost, yeah, coming from our own food waste. We have also started planting. As you can see, our UM Zero Waste campaign has started our organic garden, and we have actually started selling our organic vegetables planted at our mini garden. So this is what we want to promote. Every faculty can do this, can emulate this, yeah. And the water warriors have been also producing souvenirs, nice, cute souvenirs from recycled plastic, yeah, which has become a signature for UM also as a college or university souvenir. And they have sold more than 1,000 worth of souvenirs from recycled plastic bottle caps. Rimba project has collected more than 35,000 from their crowdfunding, from guided walks, yeah, water initiatives. We have saved the university collectively more than a few 100,000. So these are the tracking of our 3 tenets of sustainable development. So if you look in a snapshot, our UM Sustainability and Living Lab Secretariat summary achievement from 2015 until now, we have, as an academic institution, we also need to ensure that our projects, even though they are living lab, we also produce the academic output, which is publications, journals, books, policy papers, yeah. We have producers, PhDs, masters, undergraduates, and RAs from our human capital development. We have done a few hundreds of networkings through local and international collaboration, seminars and workshops, and we've got many awards and recognition, media appearances. We have our publications that fits and adds into our MIRA marks, which is good for the university. And like I said, we don't do it for the ranking, but if you do something that is good, eventually, inevitably, it will also give you the right recognition. So the best part is when we track our total monetary gain, we have actually accumulated direct and indirect savings and also income to University Malaya more than 1 million ringgit. So it makes sense, and it's not just good for the environment, it's good for economy, it's good for social, and we have actually diverted more than 15 million kilogram of CO2 greenhouse gas. So this is what I want to share with you, because I think all institutions could also try to do this. And so we have also media appearances, which has highlighted a lot of our researchers' projects in the mainstream media, yeah, be it TV, newspaper, radio. So over the years, we have actually gotten acknowledgement for our initiative. And I think before I end, these are just some simple reminders. everyone can contribute, everyone can make a difference, and every one of us collectively, individually can actually contribute through our daily initiative. Yeah, be from water use. Yeah, you know, we Malaysians are very unsustainable in water usage. Average, we use 330 liters, when in actual fact, globally, it's supposed to be 1/3 of that. So how should we actually reduce? So you have to have awareness. Yeah, majority is coming from your shower. So please stop singing when you do your shower. Yeah, just take a quick shower, because almost 30% of your water usage come from showering. Yeah, the rest is from your laundry. Make sure you have a full load. So these are simple things, but sometimes we forget. Yeah, and for us Muslim, this is something to me very useful knowledge. Ablution, we are the only religion that prays 5 times a day. Every time we take our wudu or ablution, we use about 2.5 liters of water. Some of our studies show that some people use up to 5 liters of water for one ablution. And with that, you know, we are actually using almost 5,000 liters of water per year for ablution. When in actual fact, when we are doing our obligation, religious obligation, we should be very, very prudent and very efficient. So if you just slow the flow when you take your ablution, look at how much water you can reduce. 40% of reduction of water just by slowing the flow, which can be easily done. And in UM, we have the water warriors coming up with the Mr. Timble to be inserted, so that people automatically, you know, the water becomes low. And if we want to follow the sunnah of Rasulullah SAW, our Prophet, he uses only 0.6 liter, or we call it 1 mud, and that is equivalent to only 1,000 liters per day for 365 days. So that's about 73%. So if you claim that, you know, you are following the Prophet ﷺ, you must actually reduce our water consumption, because we are really, really wasteful in terms of water consumption. Waste, again, I've mentioned many, many times, we are such a wasteful society. We have to have this paradigm. Don't just throw 90% into landfill. We have to actually change from everything going to landfill side to source reduction. So it should be, priority should be source reduction, meaning use less, use wisely, use minimal. And I always promote to my students, I propagate not 3R, yeah, but 5R at least. And the first R being to refuse. So you should refuse whatever is not needed, whatever is unnecessary. So source reduction, and then do recycling and composting. You can do home composting very easily. If you're not sure, there's a lot of data and information in the internet. ZWC, Zero Waste Campaign, also does training. And then for the local authorities and government agencies, we should invest on conversion technologies. And only finally, if there's no other choice, then we go for landfilling. Okay? So this is how unsustainable we are in terms of waste generation. In some major urban cities in Malaysia, per capita, every day, per person, we throw about almost 1.5, 1.6 kilogram of waste per day. So imagine if that could be reduced through practice of separation at source, recycling, upcycling, and all that. And again, energy use, this is one of the biggest contributor to climate change. Just by reducing, or by increasing your temperature, you could save about 30% of your power. And of course, the carbon dioxide emission that comes along with it. So please be very mindful about energy usage, because we know that one of the biggest contributor to climate change is actually combustion and energy use. All right. So for SDGs transformation, if you look at the bigger picture, and if you group them together, there are 6 SDG transformation that we need to embark on to promote circularity and decoupling. Circularity means we want to ensure that whatever we do, we reduce impact to the environment and promote circular economy, so that we do not burden the environment. And we try to decouple development with environmental pollution. How to do it? There are many ways of how to do it. That could be many other talks on that, but that's the bigger picture, and we need this big transformation, and everyone should actually play their role, because it's everyone's business and everyone's responsibility matters. we might say that, you know, I'm just one person, but if everybody, one of us collectively contribute, it does make a lot of improvement. Yeah, and we have to pave way for innovation, and universities, higher institutions have a pivotal role, critical role to create new path for innovations, especially through our research, yeah, education and leadership. And all of us must adapt and embrace the new normal. So the new normal is not business as usual anymore. Now we have to actually look at way forward on how we want to actually improve our capacity and our unique position for the universities, especially as the epicenter of society. We must quickly create awareness and also educate society to adapt quickly to crisis, with looking at flexibility and opportunity to be explored. Yeah? And we could become the torch barriers in propelling the importance and the right narrative in mainstreaming the importance of SDG to the public while adapting the new normal. Okay. So I'd like to end with this phrase by Professor Claus, that says that the pandemic represents a rare but narrow window of opportunity to reflect, reimagine, and reset our world. So having said that, I wish that whatever that has been presented today would actually hopefully inspire and give some examples of how collectively or individually we could all work together to ensure that we do something to help preserve and promote environmental conservation and taking care of the planet. So thank you for your time. I appreciate you being with us. We'll have more series of webinars. Stay tuned for announcements, because we are going to do a series of webinar sessions from all our main researchers of our Living Lab, so that you could actually learn how they carry out their project. And this is our inaugural talk today. So happy World Environment Day, everyone, and have a blessed Friday and a blessed weekend. Thank you so much for your time and attention.
All right, Prof, on behalf of all of us here, we thank you for such an insightful and informative presentation. Without any delay, now we would like to hear from all of you. If you have, like I said in the earlier part, please pose your question directly to the speaker, or you can type your questions by using the chat feature located on your right-hand side of this platform. So if you don't get to your question during today's webinar, we'll be sure to follow up afterward. So, Prof, we have one question from Nadia Aini. Her question is regarding behavioral insights. So how does behavioral insights help in creating awareness in waste management, not only in universal environment, but society as a whole?
Okay, Nadia, thank you for your question. It's very true. Some of these things that we are facing and some of the problems, environmental problems, has got a lot to do with behavioral change and also behavioral insights. That is the reason why, if you realize, in one of the slides, I did put up on the religious obligation and religious contribution in terms of understanding and appreciating how our behavior should actually be molded by the understanding of us having a responsibility towards the environment. So besides having the innovations, the technology, if behaviors, human behavior do not change into adapting to the new normal of trying to be more sustainable, it's not going to be, it's not going to work, yeah? Because if in order for us to actually promote sustainability, it has to come from the behavioral change and behavioral insights and the realization of how precious environmental resources and how our actions actually have an impact towards environmental pollution. So that could actually be inculcated not just formally but also informally, and also starting from your house institutional values. So these are something that should be nurtured from young, and it should be supported and strengthened through the curriculum system, embedded not just at university level but right from preschoolers, primary, secondary, right up up to the tertiary, so that it becomes a norm, it becomes a culture. Like I think some of us who have traveled abroad to some of the countries, and we are very impressed at the Japanese for being so disciplined about recycling and segregating the waste. It is because they have actually make it a culture. It has become a norm to them to actually do the thing that is supposed to be good for the environment. They don't have to be taught anymore. So this is actually insightful behavioral attributes that has been nurtured right from young. Yeah. So yeah, I truly believe that there's a multi-pronged approach to it. So that is the reason why continuous awareness, education, yeah, whether formal or informal, together with the technology and the right policy framework, should be supporting and should be enhancing the SDG agenda, not just for the country but for the world. Okay.
All right, thank you, Prof. Any other questions from
Yes,
our audience?
Yusoff says he wants to call. Yeah, you can post directly your question if you have, or you can type at the chat. Fazli will coordinate. But if you have any questions that you feel that you want to post directly.
Okay, there's one from from Tay Yap Leong. The Royal Malaysian Navy as an organization, how can the Malaysian Navy contribute in the SDGs on board Navy ship sailing at sea? What we can do to contribute to the SDGs?
Oh, okay, that's a very good question. I'm very happy that you're asking that question. Like I said earlier, you know, everyone has got a role to play, and if you are attached to any institution for that matter, you know, every institution, every operation, be it whether you are a higher learning institution, or you're in the Navy or in the Army or you're a bank, all of us have got impact to the environment through our daily operation and activities. So greening your operations would be the first step. So how do you actually green your operations? You have to actually probably start your tracking of your environmental impact, environmental aspect and impact of your Navy operation. Yeah, there's a lot of things that you can do, starting right from your naval vessel itself, to the use of energy, to the treatment of your waste, yeah, your spent oil and things like that. There's a lot of things, honestly speaking. And that is the reason why I shared the University Malaya Eco-Campus blueprint, because to me, the Eco-Campus blueprint is a generic document that can be used by any organization. It is, yes, very apt for higher learning institution, because those are the pertinent activities that we do every day that governs our university's operation. But if you put it into perspective and into the narrative, be it from personal perspective or for any organization for that matter, you can actually emulate and replicate them very easily, because any organizations for that matter would actually have impact and need to manage your waste, your water, your energy, your procurement. Yeah, as a Navy organization, you procure things, you procure vessels, you procure equipments. So how do you actually ensure that the things that you procure are actually having less impact to the environment? Of course, it's not easy to have no impact, but at least minimal impact to the environment. For energy efficiency, equipment that has low toxic materials, equipment that has easy recyclable properties and things like that. So there's so many things that you can do. Okay? But anyway, I believe that, you know, maybe a lot of people, organizations who are still not very familiar about how to start, how to kickstart. You can actually contact us, because we also do capacity building and training for organizations. We have ready modules to train any organizations that would like to start this journey, or if not already start, enhance environmental and sustainability agenda in your organization. All right.
All right, does that answer your questions, Mr. Tay?
Thank you very much, Doctor. Captain Tay here. Actually, I'm running a organization in Lumut as a commander of the diving unit before this.
Yes.
I do apply and pick up all this what you say that you do in my organization. But
Great. That's great.
after I left the organization, then the thing died off. So it's very difficult. Of people is individual centered at the moment. How
Yep.
to
Yep.
the organization is not picking up. In fact, some of the boys or even my superiors say, "Hey, don't waste time, that kind of thing." So it's very challenging. But I haven't give up yet, and I would like to visit your organization when I go back to when the MTO is over, to pick up some of the thing and bring back to the organization as an individual first. That's
Yes.
what I'm looking for. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Tay, for your question and for your effort. I applaud your effort. I understand and I truly appreciate your situation because it's not unique. It's quite widespread. Yeah, this environmental awareness and environmental agenda, championing it. Actually, it is a challenge in Malaysia still. Yeah, because sometimes you might get a little bit put off or you get disappointed because it's not made mainstream. It's more of individual effort because you are passionate and you have the personal conviction. But I believe any big step starts with small steps. Yeah? And it needs champions. It needs champions like you. Yeah, any organization. Seriously, it doesn't work unless you really have a top-down approach. But in the context of us, Malaysia being a developing country, still you still need the bottom up. So it works both ways. So you need that champion, and the champion is you. And please persevere in your effort because a lot of times you get blocks. And before we got our university support, I'll be honest with you, we also had challenges. I mean, I started my zero waste campaign in 2009 as just a small class project, but I wanted it to be pursued further and to be made mainstream because being a civil and environmental engineer, I look at the environmental pollution and I see the degradation of the environment. It's something that is so serious and it has to be made widespread, known, and you want everyone to come on board. It's not easy because, like I said, awareness level varies, and in the context of the developing country like Malaysia, sorry to say, sometimes it's complacent, tidak apa, laissez-faire attitude that says that it's okay, it's not going to impact anything. My contribution is too small to make an impact. We have to continue to actually champion it, and until and unless you make the thing become obvious and relevant, it's not easy to get the support. So once you get the support, once they see that you have the sincerity, you have the perseverance, and you actually have the conviction, hopefully you'll be taken up because, like I said, in order for it to be really successful, you need the multi-pronged partnership. That is why the SDG 17 focuses and includes SDG 17, which says that partnership is so important because you cannot work alone. You cannot work in isolation, but someone has to study. Someone has to study, and you need a champion for that. And if it is your personal conviction and if you believe in the cause, because to me, you have to believe in what you're doing. You're not doing it because of the recognition, you're not doing it because you want some promotion, you're doing it because it's the right thing to do. So eventually, we want it to become a movement that everyone subscribes to, and hopefully with the pressure, the policymakers, our leaders will take up the agenda, and we have to have a conducive ecosystem that supports it. So if you are in a position to actually remunerate, for example, we do it strategically. When it first started, I also had to lobby to get support from the university. Initially, it was difficult. So what we did was we got partnership and we got support from a foundation outside. And my project started because I got some funding from a foundation outside. And when we pursue and it's successful, then the university starts to promote and start to actually support us. And when we strategize to actually enhance it further, we make sure that we have more of our leaders on board. So we have the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Research allocating grants. Grant is like your carrot that attracts people to actually do. Initially maybe they don't do it because they want to improve the environmental performance or the sustainability agenda, but eventually they understand and they appreciate and they become also more champions you have, the better it will be. You have to have an ecosystem. You have to develop something that will actually stick. Yeah? So now at the moment we don't have a stick, but we do have carrots. So we have grants that actually get a lot of our researchers to be involved in the living lab projects, which inevitably will not just produce academic output, but also environmental improvement. Yeah. Okay, so that's just an example.
All right.
Anyway, please continue, Mr. Tay. I'm very happy that people from the Navy are also talking about sustainability. In fact, everyone should be talking about it. It should be a norm. More so now, after COVID-19, you realize that we just simply could not ignore the environmental degradation and also the intricate impact of the environment to our own being and our survival.
All right, thank you,
Thank
Prof.
you.
Thank you, Captain Tay.
You're welcome to visit us anytime after MCO.
Yes, please. Looking
Yes.
forward.
Right, the next one. Sure. Right, the next one we have Mr. Ray Yusoff. You can pose the questions.
All right, thank you very much. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good afternoon and congrats to Prof. Sumiani and UM team. Yeah. I think I have a quick and simple question. I believe yourself and your team at UM has done work on municipal solid waste, MSW.
Yeah.
And I think Malaysia or some states in Malaysia has launched this 3R, reduce, refuse, and so on and so forth, a couple of years back. And I just wonder that, we've been doing this from homes, I suppose, separation of waste at source. So we separate paper and plastic and metal and aluminum cans and so forth. But the thing is, I just wonder, do they really separate all these wastes? Because when I noticed that it's the same waste disposal trucks that come along. And they just dump everything in the same waste truck, at least in my area. So I just wonder, all this that we do at home, separating all these wastes accordingly, and at the end of the chain itself, it's just being dumped in the landfill with all the other waste. Do you know if that is the case, or it is really being done according to what we should be doing, after separating at source, and then it should be sent out to, I don't know, recycling centers and so on and so forth. Do you know? Yeah. Do you know how?
Okay. Thank you for your question. I think that question is a very common question among the general public. I've had many conversations with a lot of people. A lot of comments that I receive are, it's just a futile effort, Prof. We do the separation thing at home, but the moment we put it outside, the workers, the collection workers, they just dump everything into one single lorry. So what's the point? So my answer to that is, again, the same. You just need to do your part. If you ask me whether it's truly done in terms of reprocessing and reusing it as raw material, yes, to a certain extent. I know very well there are a lot of recycling centers that collects recyclables and reprocess them as virgin in replacement of virgin materials. I would not say 100%, but it's picking up. And I don't know whether Dr. Fauzi is still here. Dr. Fauzi is actually the one of the top guns in SW Corp I'm not sure that he's still around, if he can answer, if he wants to answer that. But I can actually vouch that to a certain extent, we do have recyclers, pure recyclers, genuine recyclers that actually uses your recyclables in replacement of virgin material. So, you know, please don't lose heart, even though you might feel a bit frustrated, because sometimes you see the contractors, the waste contractors comes with one simple lorry, open air, and just dump everything. But believe me, I think even at their own level, at individual level, the workers are actually collecting recyclables because it's money. And I believe that, you know, waste is actually a precious resource only if it is separated. So as an individual, to play our part and to ensure that, you know, each and every one of us should actually carry out this separation at source. Besides, of course, trying to reduce our waste that we generate out. So if we are prudent and you really want to become a zero waste person, you should not actually produce as much waste as we are now. You know, but if you do and it's inevitable, try to separate your waste, your food waste. Easily you can make into compost at home. Use it for your urban garden, urban farming. Now with COVID-19, we realize that, you know, everyone has to be self-sufficient. You have to start your own urban farming, and it's doable, it's simple. It's not rocket science, you just need a little of effort. So if every household actually do not take out their food waste, imagine the 50% of the 38,000 tons is gone. So they only need to collect the recyclables, and out of that 38,000 tons, if half are food waste, another 30% are recyclables, meaning paper, plastic, PET bottles, aluminium cans. All these are actually precious resource, and we have recyclers and recycling industries that actually takes them and reuse. I know very sure that for paper, you know, so our surat khabar lama thing is very, very popular, because there are a few industries and also kilang that actually recycle paper. I even have a close friend of mine, an ex-classmate, who is actually a plastic recycling entrepreneur. They have big kilang in northern state of Kedah. So they collect all the PET bottles, and one of her major complaint is there's not enough PET bottles to be collected, to be recycled for reuse. Why? Because we don't produce a lot of PET bottles or use a lot of discard a lot of single-use plastic bottle, is because we don't separate. So the moment you don't separate, the moment you dump everything and commingle all your waste, it just becomes useless and it just becomes pollution. So please continue with your effort of separation at source. The moment you start separating and putting it in different containers or different bags, the workers, the collection workers could actually even recycle and collect and get extra income out of it. And you're diverting. The best part is you're diverting the waste from entering our landfill site, because our landfill site are all choked up. You know, out of the 169 landfills that we recorded in Malaysia, only 8 or 10 are sanitary landfills. Now, what does it mean? It means that the majority are actually just open dump, and it's causing a lot of environmental pollution, which is coming back to us and taunting us in terms of water pollution, air pollution, and a host of other health issues. So, Mr. Ray, please continue with your effort. Even though you might sometimes see the collection workers dumping and, you know, just mixing up everything, but if you put it nicely in separate containers, I think, inshallah, there will be some use to, if not the workers, it will actually end up in some recycling centers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ray. I hope that does answer your questions. So this one is from Siti Khadijah Sabah. She's from University Malaysia UNIMAP. The first question is, how much is the budget offers for the Eco Campus grant or Living Labs grant, and how do you manage the projects in terms of maintenance after the grant has ended? So that is the first one. The second one, the quick one, is due to the new norm post-COVID-19, a lot of community-based projects are on hold due to restrictions on gatherings. could you share simple measures taken by UM in order to involve staff or community to participate in sustainability programs?
All right. Thank you for your question. In your first question, asking about the budget, it's very true. Like I said, budget is always a challenge. That is the reason why, in order for you to get that budget, you have to show that you're serious in your effort. Yeah. So when I first started the zero waste project, like I said, it was a small project. We managed to get some very small budget from my Dean of Engineering at that time. And then when I wanted to expand it to the university, there was no support. I have to go a few times to meet the Deputy Vice Chancellor, present to the committees here and there, but they say, okay, we have to put on hold because they don't see the ROI of it. It's normal, that's normal. So you have to convince them. So it's a lot of hard work. And that's why I said, again, to just now the question by Mr. Tay from Navy, you need the champion. So if you truly believe in your cause and you wanted to actually make an impact, you have to persevere. So you have to also be creative and innovative. You don't have to just depend on the university. You can always apply for grants outside. There's so many grants outside, whether it's from, even like now, MBPJ. I don't know whether our friend from MBPJ is here. They also have grants that are actually promoting community and sustainability initiatives. We have foundation, banks, agencies, and even industries, giving out grants and also CSR funding. You just need that little extra effort to actually reach out and get that support. So I would truly say that, now we are in a better position because most university in Malaysia, you're from UNIMAP. I know UNIMAP is also, I think, in the right direction, trying to go for this sustainability agenda, because it's no longer an option. It's actually the norm of doing business in terms of promoting sustainability. So when we first started, like I said, no funding, no money, but I persevered. I started and pushed through, got funding from outside, started my project small, did some launching, got SW Corp to support, Jabatan Sistem Pekerja Negara to support, which doesn't cost any money. And we got also international support, through my contacts and through friends. And when we had the launching, then the university realized that this is a serious effort and it's making a lot of impact. Yeah. Then they started incorporating it into the budget. So you have to actually strategize to ensure that you get the support by showing results first. You can't start something without anything. So if you are serious about trying to pursue this sustainability project, unless you are very lucky that your university have got ready allocation, which I think now is much easier. Otherwise, you start off your project small, show them that you are serious, show them the calculation of the ROI or the impact, be it environmental, social, and economic impact. Also now with the SDG Time Higher Education ranking, it will benefit the university. So eventually, my Deputy Vice Chancellor research allocated, because we are a research university, we have research RU funding. She allocated some money. I can share with you. Initially, it was 1 million research grant that we actually we managed under the Sustainability Science Research Cluster, and it kickstart in a big grand scale. So all the pioneer projects, including Water Warriors led by Dr. Zida, Dr. Subu with his Rimba project. These are projects that has started long before any funds was allocated. These are actually individuals who actually have got passion and wanted to implement real projects, with, of course, the students, like we have Water Warriors, Afan and Asya. They're with us until now. And Alhamdulillah, along the way, we managed to secure not just grant, but also employment to these people. Yeah, and but of course now with the limitation and also the current climate and constraint of economic perspective, we are the grant allocation has been slashed. Everyone is affected, but still we sustain. and we go on a smaller scale. But those who are already doing it, they are continuing doing it. Okay, so that is to your first question. Your second question was how to entice people to join community project. Okay, this is again another challenge. I know very well because I've been involved with a lot of community projects. Working with community takes a lot of time and effort, and also it sometimes is a bit frustrating because the Malaysian community are still not as advanced in terms of their environmental commitment and also promoting sustainability projects. They would initially be happy to join us, but after a while, if you don't follow through, the project will just dwindle. And again, when you start community project, you have to find a champion among them. You have to find a champion among them, and you have to start an ecosystem that can actually benefit them, because we humans, being humans, we will always look at what is it in for me. So if you could actually promote a project that could actually generate income, like for example, when they do the food waste separation at source, recycling, you teach them, you train them how to do composting. Not only can they produce for their own use, but they can also sell. So it's an income generation. But again, you need to find the champions among the ones that are interested, the ones that are committed, because otherwise you will just be halfway abandoned. So we don't want that to happen. And to entice our researchers is also a challenge, yes, because community projects at the end of the day, like I said, you need those who are interested, who have the personal interest. But otherwise, the university could also entice by ensuring that their contribution is accounted for, is acknowledged. Because for us in research university, it's more challenging, because at the end of the day, what counts are your publications. And working with community, even though you can publish, but it's a bigger challenge than you just do an conventional research where you produce your results, you work in the lab and you write your papers. But to me, it's more satisfying. You can produce papers, yes. There are other journals and publications that you can go to. And if you can't produce the journal papers, you can always produce your book, your guidelines, your training modules, because these are very helpful and it has a bigger impact to the community, to the society, and to environmental protection. Okay, I hope that answers your question.
All right, since she said that. Thank you, Prof. Sumiani, for the advice. All right, just a quick final one because we are running out of time. From Sheila, she's asking, Prof. Sumiani, what is your prediction of all these green initiatives post-COVID-19? Do you think public and businesses will show less interest in going green because they may be more focused in trying to provide food on the table?
Yeah, that's a very, 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 very question actually. Honestly speaking, this COVID-19 is actually a starting, and it's a good turning point for us to actually reflect, reset, reboot ourselves into things we could actually embed the new normal that is more sustainable. But having said that, we understand that there'll be bigger challenges because of the economic impact and the implications of MCO and all these things related to the pandemic. It could actually create a lot more people neglecting sustainability initiatives because what is more important, according to Maslow hierarchy needs of law, is providing first food and shelter. So putting food on the table would be a priority. But if we are actually taking sustainability as a one-off agenda, then it might actually be impacting the future and also the perspective of it flourishing. But if it has become a norm, and if we take stock of what is happening and use this opportunity to actually embed sustainability into our future activities and our future way of life, this is the best time to do it. For example, now with MCO, with COVID, we know that sometimes food supply is a big problem. Can you imagine if every one of us start this simple waste separation, doing simple on-site treatment and planting your own food. It is doable. It's not rocket science, right? And that is at individual level. And at local authority levels, I wish there's some local authority people here, because when I do training to the local authority officers, I keep saying, you know, the local authority can play a big role in trying to promote this sustainability culture. We want to make it a culture. We want to make it a behavioral norm. Yeah. And how do we promote that in society? There's a lot of abandoned lands in a lot of our areas in the local council. Why don't we create that and come up with a policy that all abandoned lands must be turned into a community garden, vegetable or farm or whatever, and facilitate that to happen? Because you realize with COVID-19, you can be self-sufficient if you take that little effort of trying to actually improve how the way we manage our lives. Okay? And also at the national level, policymakers should actually look at this opportunity to actually now ensure that, you know, things related to especially biodiversity have to be safeguarded. Yeah, because this interaction, human intricate interaction between ourselves and other species is actually causing probably the problem of COVID-19 started because it was transferred from supposedly animal to humans. So how do we respect that, you know, intricate balance between living in harmony with other species on this earth and do not destroying their habitat, because we are very dependent on the balance of close interaction between species on earth. So, you know, this is a good opportunity for everyone actually to take stock and to reset and come back and ensure that we promote sustainability in our future norm and also the new normal after post-COVID-19. And that would be my answer. All right.
All right, thank you, Prof. Last one from our colleague here, Shuada from the River Project. She asked you about, the question is, how do we know which company actually utilize the recyclables?
How do you know? Okay. You know that SW Corp and Jabatan Sistem Pejal Negara, they actually have a list of the registered recyclers. Okay, so these registered recyclers are the ones that actually they have the contractors, registered contractors, and registered recyclers that are legal, that actually utilize your recyclables that you actually carry out. Like for example, in we have started initiative and collaboration with Alam Flora. You know that before COVID-19, we have actually started the collection for recyclables, monthly collection, and it has been very, very successful and very popular. And imagine the amount of waste that we have diverted from going to the landfill site, and also the revenue that was generated out of selling the recyclables. So it's a multi-pronged advantage approach. And Alam Flora, being the concessionaire, one of the biggest contractor of waste, they collect the recyclables and they actually have their own host of recyclers that they channel the recyclables that they collect from us. So it is done. I don't have the list, but you can always check with the authorities. Yeah, so that's why I said, even though there's a lot of frustrations about separation at source by a lot of people, but I believe that whatever you do with sincerity, and you have to persevere. And I believe that, you know, eventually it's a new business model basically. You know, you can make money out of waste, and it can create a lot of green jobs. So every one of us could actually promote to that. If we don't do the separation at source, how is it going to be collected and be recycled in the first place? All right, so please continue with the initiative, because we do have legal recyclers, many registered recyclers that are taking our waste and processing them and replacing the use of raw materials, which you know is not good and is a burden towards resource depletion. Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you, Prof. It looks like we have covered most of the questions from the audience. Thank you to all the participants for your constructive questions and supportive comments throughout this webinar. For those questions left unanswered, worry not, kindly refer to the chat panel now. Ms. Irene have already shared you the two emails, campus@um.edu.my and sumiani@um.edu.my, for you to share your questions, feedbacks, and comments. We'll be sure to follow up with you soon. Yeah. So, Prof. Sumiani, would like to share a few final words for wrap up?
Okay. In conclusion, and in having shared our experiences in I would really hope that you will pick up, and could actually inspire all of you here to actually continue with your effort, because I know those who have registered are those that has got interest and that has got passion towards environmental conservation. The little knowledge that we have and the sharing of our experience could actually be very useful, and hopefully you can replicate them. And again, not just for yourself, but you can always play your role to actually spread the awareness and start implementing in a concerted manner. With that, I thank my staff, all my staff, especially Fazli, Irene, Azizi, who have worked very hard. And please join us for these continuous webinar sessions, because we have lined up and we have planned a series of them, and you will learn from the other researchers about their project, and hopefully you could actually also start implementing and contribute towards the big agenda of sustainable development. Thank you. Have a nice day. Have a nice weekend.
All right. Thank you, Prof. These are the key points pointed out through these Q&A sessions. Some of them are behavioral change, that's important, environmental tracking and assessment, so that we can actually monitor how we progress throughout the years, and then perseverance to push the agenda is really important to make sure that the project can be sustainable. And we need good political will from our leaderships and governance, and do it with sincerity and passion. So this is about time for us to reflect, to reset, and come back stronger. So with that, on behalf of University Malaya and the Secretariat, we would like to thank each and every one of you for taking your time to attend our first sustainability webinar series. This is not the last, and I'm sure, inshallah, we have more series in store for you to cover interesting sustainability topics from the experience of our Living Labs campus sustainability-driven action research projects. So we'll keep you posted. Don't forget to follow our Facebook page and Instagram at Sustainability. So have a great weekend to all. Remember, stay safe and happy World Environment Day. Thank you and see you soon. Bye.
Okay, bye everyone. Thank you. Bye.